fighting in the UFC. I've been working on, jiu-jitsu is my main strength, and I've been kind of really working on how to implement my jiu-jitsu into MMA. I know that right now a lot of people have been making a lot of statements that jiu-jitsu doesn't work in MMA, and there's a lot of high-level jiu-jitsu guys that have somewhat, I don't want to say bailed on their jiu-jitsu game, but they've felt that they've had to work so much on different aspects, and so they haven't really gotten quick to the submission part. So jiu-jitsu is not always about submissions to me, it's a lot about positioning. And a lot of the things that you see occur in MMA fights, you'll see guys, jiu-jitsu guys get paired up against the better wrestlers, and the UFC tends to do that a lot, I think, to show that jiu-jitsu is not the end-all be-all. But so you see jiu-jitsu guys taking bad shots, and I want to show some entries into how I end up on top, if you don't want to call it a takedown, and from not just a Western wrestling standpoint. And so I'm going to start with Ronnie, and it's kind of like, I think in an MMA fight, you have to acknowledge that you are going to engage in contact at some point in time, and the guy's going to try to take you down, and you're going to try to take him down. And even if he's the better wrestler, he's thinking he's got the better defense to stuff your shot, or he thinks he's going to throw you on your back and then cut away so that you're just constantly getting up, and try to pick you apart from the side, or just dump you on your head, or whatever. So right now we're going to start, a guy shoots in, he's in on a single leg, head on the inside, right? He elevates the leg, right? Here you see in a lot of guys, the Diaz brothers, they come over with the Kimura, and this is really good. This is kind of where this idea started from. And they'll come and start coming over, right? I think you've seen Carl and a few other guys. There's a lot of guys that do that. What I started working on, and I think that a lot of the anti-game to wrestling is leg locks. And even though people like to categorize leg locks as sambo or whatever, it's legal in jiu-jitsu, and so I think everything is pretty much the same. All right, so he starts to elevate the leg, or even from this position. He has my leg in between his legs. All I look to do is cut the knee. If I go over his back, and this has happened to some of us, it's happened to me in a fight. I've seen it happen to some of the guys that are really, really good at this. So as opposed to bringing my weight up, where I could potentially get lifted if Ronnie was to lift me and get thrown and still have the takedown finish, I cut behind the knee and right behind the lat. So he's here, he starts to elevate the leg. Elevate the leg. Come up to your feet. Here. Trapping right behind the knee. Right? My leg is still up the middle. Bringing him over, and I have the leg. Try to stay in the frame. Okay. He's here on the leg. Here, he elevates the leg again. I don't necessarily have to come over. I can be here. Finishing with the leg lock. Here, or again, coming up with a single leg. Key details, when the guy's on his back, we look at entering the leg lock. Want the knee up the middle, here. And essentially, that's the same thing that he's doing by elevating my leg here. So I want my instep up in his crotch. Head down. Coming over. So by having this instep in his crotch, I'm not just flopping and pulling him into mount, which you'll see some guys accidentally do, just thinking that they're diving for a leg lock. Next thing is legs flush to the wall. He's underhooking, elevating, and they're having trouble. Right? They didn't come from the best wrestling background, so they're struggling, changing levels, getting their butt out. This has worked really well for me. I'm in the over-under, usually always keeping my underhook elevated. And as opposed to making a regular wrestling shot, because this guy might be a superior wrestler, this has helped me a lot. I'll staple in between his legs. By stapling in between his legs, my opponent's going to try to always elevate the underhook. Now if I use muscles to pull down, he might eventually, with his legs, his torso, elevate my underhook. But if I anchor down in his crotch and I make my arm like a bar, now he tries to elevate, it's locked against his leg. Now that I have him here, all I'm going to do is drop my head, trapping his arm, right, and then switch. Right now here, it's no longer like a Division I wrestling situation. I'm locking my hands right underneath his butt, elevating and pulling him away. Always keeping his knees past his hips so he's stacked, and he can't shrimp. Boom, boom, boom. So they're driving, the guy's digging for underhooks, they can't turn the corner, they can't pull in, they might be super tired, right? So now, what you essentially think of the guy on the ground, you're in his guard. Now he's basically, you're kind of in that guard position but at a different plane. He's standing up, his legs are open. I'm here, I'm going to step in, bringing my knee and my shin up, right? So preferably it's more sprawled out on me, sprawl. We're here, right? I'm in bad shape. Bring my knee up, coming up with the ankle, or I can just control his leg, taking his back. Anything's better than just holding onto the legs, gassing out, and getting punched in the head. So again, here, I'm driving. His weight is coming forward. His point of base is basing through me, making a connection to the floor through me. And that's what's holding him up. So what I do is I step in, right? Make sure my shin is in his pelvis so I don't accidentally pull him into mount. Throwing him over and past me, not right on top of me. So Ronnie can't punch me. Coming up the leg, either there or he's gonna pull to his guard. Whatever. And then the process keeps going on from there. Those are several moves. And so a lot of times for the jiu-jitsu guy that doesn't have a wrestling background, you know, you're constantly trying to come up with these new improvements to get around it or how to implement your jiu-jitsu. One more situation, you know, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys will see, they're on the wrestler's back. And the guy will slip them off, shut them off. You know, the jiu-jitsu guy will spin for an armbar or slip out front, tripod. You're in one of these situations. And they'll come up and you'll see a lot of your favorites guys are really good at it. They tripod, they shake guys off. Boom. And then you lose position. You'll see guys try to slip for an armbar. Boom, the guy slips out. Lose position. So once you establish that you have back control, you know, that's the #1 control point. The best position you can possibly be in a fight. So first thing I want to do is I kind of keep an underhook to keep myself elevated on his back, and I post one hand. Hold strong, run. If I just stay here, I'm starting to slip off, so I post one hand here. Now I'm going to turn my legs, shooting this leg deep, right? Keeping Ronnie's head in the lock, I start to shoot through. Grabbing his leg, and then finishing with a knee bar. Even if I don't come up with a knee bar, I still am in this situation on his back, keeping myself centered, not getting too high. Then from here you can do all your cool jiu-jitsu moves. One more time. So, you know, I might have been in the standing position, crashed the guy forward, boom, stepped over to his back here. And a lot of coaches will say, you're too high, you don't want to take the guy's back when he's standing. Here, this keeps me up, right? Now, I have to make sure that Ronnie's head stays in between my arms. If his head is to the outside, I'm not going to get the knee bar, but I can still get the return to the mat. So now I come down, post my head, reaching through, I can grab behind his knee, controlling him over, walking up. And it might not be a traditional knee bar, but you can blow out his LCL, which I've done in one of my fights. Boom, and then his leg just goes. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for submissions. Hopefully you guys can start to implement those and start beating up some wrestlers. Yeah, okay, that's it.